Hello, I'm wearing pink today because it is the Valentine's Day video. Today I'm recommending you 15 different romance books that you can read over the Valentine's Day period. Obviously you probably can't read all 15, but maybe this will give you inspiration as to what to read during the love time. I have got quite a few different subgenres of romance. I also have it separated into adult books and YA books. Young adult, that is, sorry. I always say that as if everyone knows what YA is, but if you don't, young adult and adult books. I'm going to have the YA books at the end, so I'll have the chapters on and you can go there if you want to, but otherwise adult books are first. Now I don't think I could make a romance recommendation video without recommending my favourite book that I read last year, The Love Hypothesis. This is a fake dating set in an academic setting. We've got professor and PhD student, although he's not her professor, so it's all good there. There's no weird power imbalance, don't worry. However, this was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I did talk more about it in my 5-star reads video, but if you haven't read it yet, I would highly suggest you do. Ali Hazelwood also has quite a few other romance books. I've only read this one so far. There is Love on the Brain and Loath to Love You out right now as well. Loath to Love You is an anthology and it's got 3 different short stories in it, so I feel like that would also be a great one to read in Valentine's Day. You get multiple different stories in the one book, which sounds amazing. I have not read that one yet either, but this one is great. Next is The Hating Game. I loved this one so much. This is like a rivals to lovers workplace romance. They both work in like a publishing agency which recently had a merger, so they're both from like 2 different companies, but now they're working together. And it's great. I loved it. I loved all the characters in it and it just was an amazing romance and would definitely recommend if you haven't read it already. There is also a movie out, so you could do a fun little read the book, watch the movie over the Valentine's Day period. And of course I couldn't make a romance recommendation video without recommending the queen of romance, Emily Henry. I actually haven't read Book Lovers yet. I'm just holding it up because that's another Emily Henry book I have. I don't know how it goes, but I'm sure it will be good because it's Emily Henry. But I have read Beach Read and I can confirm it is just as good as everyone says it is. This is about these 2 authors. They end up being neighbours for a bit and they switch genres to try and get more inspiration because they're both kind of having like writer's block and they fall in love while they do it, which is great. I love it. I also have read You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry, also known as People We Meet on Vacation. I prefer You and Me on Vacation as a title because it makes more sense because they didn't meet each other on vacation, they already knew each other. That was also really great and I really enjoyed that one. Perhaps book lovers wouldn't really know if it's great, but I'm sure it's not bad. So, Emily Henry. Next, It Happened One Summer. This was the second last book that I read last year, so it's still fresh in my mind and I really enjoyed it. This was like a grumpy sunshine trope and it was set in a small fishing town. It's about this girl named Piper who is sent away to the small town where her dad lived. She got sent by her stepdad. She is like nearly 30, but she has had very little independence because the stepdad, was very rich, so she kind of got everything that she wanted. So now she's sent off to like go live on her own with her sister as well. Her sister decided to go with her, and there is a spin-off book called Hook, Line and Sinker which is about her sister. I haven't read that, but I'm also sure that it's great because It Happened One Summer was really good, and that was the first of a Tessa Bailey book that I read. She does have quite a lot of romances to choose from, so if you have read that, then there are many others that she has written as well. So those are like the romances that are basically just in romance. Now I'm going into the little subgenres of romance. The first one being Open Water. This is like a literary fiction and it was beautifully written. This was one of the most real portrayals of a romantic relationship out of all these books. It was like very real, very beautifully written. I loved it. So this was actually also in my 5-star reads video, so if you haven't read it, would recommend. It's very short to read, so you can read it all in one day on Valentine's Day, and It was very good, would highly recommend. The next book that's in the mystery genre, this is actually a 2-book series, so a duology, and the first book being Dial A for Aunties. I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. So it's about this girl who goes on a date and accidentally ends up murdering her date. So she gets the help of her aunties to cover up the murder whilst at a wedding. And then she falls in love at the same time. And then there's a second book as well. This is 4 aunties and a wedding. It was amazing. Recommend both of those. They're very easy to get through because they are so funny and so like quickly paced that you just want to read the whole thing straight away in one sitting. Next we have Meant to Be, which is a small town romance, and it is so good. It's set in Australia and it's actually by one of my friends, Lauren, from the book club. It's an amazing book, and if you haven't read it yet, you definitely should. And it was really good. There's like a little mystery element. You know that there was like some drama that happened back in the day before Josie left the small town. There was some drama that happened between her and the love interest, and she left. She left and she went to Brisbane and she lived there for a long time. But then she came back to the small town. She came back to the small town. Go read that book and give all your love to Lauren, because what an amazing book, what an amazing author, what an amazing person. Good job, Lauren. Great book. And the last adult book that I have on the list is One Last Stop. This is set in New York, and I love a book set in New York, and it is kind of sci-fi-ish. We've got a ghost and time travel. It's like all sorts of things. It was amazing. And I really liked how at the beginning of each chapter we had like little, that's like a snippet from like social media, but then you also have like just newspaper ones and like different articles relating to the person that is like traveling through time, and it is really good, really interesting, really fun, really great. It is also the same author as Red, White and Royal Blue, which is also one that you should definitely be reading. It was great. It's between the son of the President of America and the Prince of England. So Red, White and Royal Blue, and it's also going to be a TV show or movie, I don't know which one, but very exciting. Now we're going into YA, and the first book that I will mention, it's the only like different book that isn't like specifically romance, but it is definitely a romance, but it's also a dystopian because it is Delirium. This is like one of the really old covers. I've never seen this cover before, but Delirium by Lauren Oliver. This is a dystopian book where love is illegal, so everyone is like kind of matched up with someone just for the purpose of like reproducing, but no one is in love, and if you are in love you are seen as mad, and the main character ends up falling in love with one of the guys who is out in the wilds, I believe it was called. It was really good. I remember being obsessed with this book when I read it and would not stop talking about it. If you haven't read it, would definitely recommend. It's a perfect book really if you're looking for a dystopian to read during the Valentine's Day period, because it's all about love, or the lack of love, and the forbidden love. Really great. Next, I actually have a graphic novel series. This is Heartstopper. There's currently 4 volumes out right now, and they're all amazing. There's also a TV show, so after you read the books, you can watch the show, which is great. It is so cute. I love it. The art style is amazing. I don't actually have physical copies of these. I read it all on Webtoon, but you can actually buy the physical copies as well. A great book series to read over Valentine's Day. Really easy and quick to read as well since they're graphic novels, but would definitely recommend. Very cute, very sweet. Also, do look up trigger warnings for the later books, I think from like middle of 2 onwards perhaps. There's like eating disorders mentioned, so if you're sensitive for those areas, just make sure you look up more in depth of what is mentioned. But the next book that I have is I Kissed Shara Wheeler. I did talk about this again in my 5-star reads video, and it was amazing. This is like a YA romance that follows 3 characters that go on a scavenger hunt basically after finding these letters left by Shara, who has run away from home after kissing all the 3 characters. Would definitely recommend. And if you like YA as a genre, then there are some like bits in this that are reminiscent of other YA books, like Paper Towns as well. It's very John Green, but in a good way. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I loved Paper Towns. And I did see the similarities, but I thought this was amazing as well. So this is also by the same author as One Last Stop and Red, White and Royal Blue. So if you liked those already, maybe give this a try as well, because it was really good. Next is Love and Gelato. This one I absolutely loved. Also, there is a movie, however, do not watch that movie. It was a trash movie. Probably one of the worst book to movie adaptations I've seen. However, the book was really good. The book was amazing. It's set in Italy, obviously, Love and Gelato. It's about our main character who goes to Italy to feel closer to her recently deceased mother who spent a lot of time in Italy. So she reads her journals and goes to all the different places that she went to. There's kind of like a little mystery element involved, and it was really cute. And the last book that I have in the YA category is Anna K. This one is like a retelling of Anna Karenina, set in New York, and it was great. It was very much Gossip Girl, and I loved it. So drama filled. It was amazing. It was super duper fun, and there are quite a few different characters. So there's like 2 pages of all the characters, and they kind of all have separate stories that also intertwine, and it is amazing. So like each chapter goes like back and forth with different characters, and it is so good. I read this a couple years ago and still think about it today because I'm like, wow, how good was that? I believe there is a second one as well, which I haven't read, but I may. So those were all the romance books that you should definitely be reading during the Valentine's Day period. And I hope you found some new books to add to your TBR, and I hope you love them as much as I did. If you've also got any other great romances that you would like to share with everyone else and myself, put them in the comments, because as I've said many times, I love to know your book opinions. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed and want to see more videos from me, and don't forget to like the video, and I will see you next week. Goodbye!